Hello and welcome to episode 203 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Holland.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
What's up, Jeffrey? How you doing?
Doing pretty good, Darby, especially since we are less than a week away from Sora and Smash.
Oh, baby.
And we have Metroid Dread. It just came in the mail. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we will not be talking about it.
We will not, sadly, because we're slack.
Yep.
But yeah, everything. We'll be having some Nintendo Switch playtime coming up. Last for show.
Oh, no. So we now have a copy of Deathloop review copy provided by Megan and Preston.
Absolutely coming in clutch with a double delivery of Deathloop in the mail.
So you can expect us to play that at some point.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to get a review copy of Deathloop is just have a friend get
two copies in the mail.
Yep. Foolproof.
Yes.
That's perfect. Yeah, so I'm excited because that's definitely a game that I was like interested in, just maybe not full price buying interested in. And
especially when we know it's coming to Game Pass at some point.
Yeah. Now we just get to play it way earlier.
Yeah.
And get haptics maybe. I don't know. Does that game have haptic shit?
Probably.
There you go. Get that. So yeah, look forward to both of those in the coming week.
Maybe Back for Blood.
Some Back for Blood. When is that? Like,
today.
Hey, let's go, baby.
Probably just go ahead and get it downloaded.
I agree. We should. But enough about those future games that we haven't actually played. Let's talk about games that we have played, such as Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania. Speaking of free games.
Yes.
You regale us with how you ended up with Super Monkey Ball.
Sega or Monkey Ball, I can't remember which, just posted a link or something about some kind of contest thing. So I just filled it out and I guess I won. They sent me a code. I was like, cool. So I now have a code on my Switch.
Well, you are the number one Sega fan.
True.
That's what we learned here.
Yeah, obviously. Especially this is my first Super Monkey Ball game. I'm a big fan.
Most fake gamer over here.
True. But yeah, Super Monkey Ball, a series I have been interested in for a long time, and I was thinking about probably picking this game up at some point anyway. But yeah, but it's a lot of fun. You know, you're a little monkey, which is awesome, and you're rolling around in a ball, which is also awesome.
Or a little Kiryu.
Yeah, little Kiryu, little Sonic, little Jet from Jet Set Radio,
A little Morgana if you got big pockets.
Yeah.
If you bust out that wallet.
Hello Kitty. Some doofus from Monster Rancher for some reason. Let's go.
You've just offended all the Monster Rancher fans.
That used to be me when I was a kid. But I haven't thought of Monster Rancher in
You've
years.
offended your young self.
It's true.
What would kid Jeff think?
Banjo.
Yeah, true. That would make up for it. You have a giant banjo statue.
Well, he's still foaming at the mouth from hearing Sora's going to be getting smashed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We're living in a fantasy land.
Yeah.
But yeah, how's this game?
It is really good. It is also really hard.
Way too hard for me. I watched you do it, play it for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, you have fun with that.
Yeah, and again, it's my first time playing it, and I'm curious to see how hard it gets. I know they also challenge modes. I'm curious how that changes things up. But yeah, definitely, especially with the aesthetic and everything, just kind of surprised. I've heard it, but it's kind of interesting to play it for myself. Like the way with this kind of very cartoony monkey aesthetic, and then it's as hard as it is. It's like there are probably a lot of parents who got them for their kids, and the kids probably raged. Probably just dropped it because it was too hard. But, you know, we don't give kids enough credit sometimes. We bashed our heads against hard games when we were young. And
yeah, I think the difference is back then, that was like your only game. So it was brutally hard, but you just sat there and played it and died over and over and over and over and over and over and over again for 100 hours until you finally make your way through the game.
But even with the... and admittedly, I haven't played like a crazy long, probably 2-ish hours maybe. It hasn't gotten like nearly the point of frustrating. I mean, I've gotten all of them at some point. And the way the game's structured is you got a minute to beat these levels anyway. And a lot of times, you know, it's not going to take you that long to either beat it or fall off or fail anyway.
Yeah, and at least it's one of those where you're right back in it when you die.
Yeah, you respawn pretty much immediately. So it works in that way. And even besides going for the levels, it does give you at least some cool little other things to add to it, like, unlocking the characters we mentioned, like Sonic and Kiryu, and getting the money for that, getting clothes for the little monkeys, dressing them up in swag.
And just for the little bit I saw you play, they would teach you kind of like something, some mechanic about moving the ball around, and then do something very weird and wacky with it. Like, they're like, this is the goal. Now the goal is over in this weird place. Now there's a goal behind you. Now there's a goal that's like swinging on this platform. You got to try to like stop. You can
either make it difficult on yourself and try to get it while it's moving, or you can do the pause button on it.
Yeah, so I totally see. I'm sure that just gets wild and wilder and wilder as it goes.
Yeah, I do know, obviously this is going to be a big speedrunning game. I feel like I've heard that a good many people don't like speedrun the whole game. They like speedrun certain levels. They just focus on a couple key levels.
I mean, I'm sure that's hard enough as it is.
Yeah. Especially since I have seen some people, especially when it's a long winding level, they just go straight for it and jump off and land and get in the goal.
Yeah, and seeing you, I mean, no offense, I would do way worse than you, but very gingerly going through this level or whatever, because it's this very thin platform. I'm sure the people who know what they do are just shooting through that thing.
And I
totally see how there's a big skill level thing here, and it's surprisingly simple. I mean, it's weird. It's a weird game because you're not technically controlling the character; you're controlling the actual world itself, which is weird.
It's like a weird thing where that is technically what you're doing, but it feels enough like you're actually just controlling the character, which works. Obviously, it still has some of the ball physics, so you're not in 100% control in a way, but it works. It feels really good for what it is doing, for sure. Yeah. And as far as this game as a package, I think it's a very good package. I haven't finished the game, but just kind of looking at everything that's in it, I think that is well enough worth it, because this is a $40 game, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not a full price thing. And it's a remake of at least the first 2 Monkey Ball games, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 3. And then it has all the multiplayer modes, and I scrolled through all that shit, and it's whenever we get around to it for our friend group, we got enough shit here to may at least last a little bit, just because it has soccer, baseball, tennis, and all that kind of stuff in there. You got a little, I think there's a Monkey Ball racing thing in there. You're just going down track racing with the balls and trying to score on a goal like you're flying and trying to land on a target.
That's the thing I'm most excited about, is all those party games.
Yeah, so it seems like obviously the single player is good, and the multiplayer game seems like a lot of fun. So honestly, I admittedly haven't played them, but I've heard nothing but great things about them. So I have no doubt they're great. I've watched some streamers play them. But yeah, for $40, I think it's a great package if you're interested in the game. And I will have more impressions as I play more and potentially rage. We'll see.
Yeah, and I'm excited for us to get into it. Looks like it could be a good rotation for the party games.
Got that good many of them lately. We still got Mario Party coming up.
No, it's a good time. It's a good time right now for those. And we still haven't played WarioWare with the group, because we ended up just doing Nickelodeon All Star, which we will get to. But so it's a very good time if you have a friend group who likes to play games. Very good time for that shit. Monkey. Also, Back for Blood, a different type of playing with your friends.
Indeed. Yeah, I watch it. In the middle of watching Easy Ally streaming, and that one was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it do sound good.
But it's a ripoff of Left 4 Dead, despite being from the same developer, so I can't support it.
Isn't that the whole point?
I don't get gamers, man. Let's move on.
I don't understand.
Dara, you've been playing a game. Very little, but you've been playing it.
Yeah, very little of a game. It's not going to be a whole lot. But I have been eyeing a game called Odens Sphere. Look it up and try to pronounce the subtitle for me, because it's letters. It sure is letters. That.
Odens Sphere Le Fraser. That is wrong. That's what we're going with.
Odens Sphere Le Fraser. This is a game made by Vanillaware. I don't know when it originally came out. I think this is a re-release.
It originally came out on the PS2.
Yeah, I know I knew it was an old game, and I think this re-release came out 2014 or something.
It was weirdly enough published by both Atlas and Square.
Oh, weird.
Where like it was originally published by Atlas and then a year later published by Square. Maybe it's different territory. I don't know.
Yeah, I would guess different territories, but that's interesting. But this is a Vanillaware game, and the only other Vanillaware game I've played is 13 Sentinels. But ever since then, I've been like, yeah, that was one of those. I love the writing and stuff of that game so much that I'm like, and it was so different than anything else I've ever played that I was like, I want to look into what else they've done. You know, it's I don't always have that. Even games I like, I don't always have that reaction. But this is like they have such a unique writing style that I'm like, I need to look and see if their other games fall in that vein. And everyone always said Odens Sphere was like by far the best one. It's like a really, really critically acclaimed game. I don't think it's super popular, but like people say, a lot of people like this game more than 13 Sentinels. And I've been eyeing it forever, but it was always full price, always. And it finally was $15. I saw they had a big sale on PSN, so I'm like, I'm gonna jump on this even if I don't play it right now. It's just like I can never justify spending the like $60 for it, but yeah, so I jumped on it. I played a little bit of it. I'm still like in the tutorial area, but immediately it feels like 13 Sentinels in the sense that there's kind of two games in one. There's a visual novel type thing, and the models even look a lot like 13 Sentinels. It's a beautiful game, still like 13 Sentinels, but where like you're going through a scene with characters talking and everything, and then it flips to the gameplay. And the gameplay in this is like a 2D hack and slash type thing, which is not always my jam. So that's part of why I was like somewhat hesitant about this. But even just from the tutorial, it's really impressive how many different moves you have in here. Because like you have a moves to the side and above and below. Then you have like two different dash moves depending on like if you hold some other button down and do it, or you like just go forward and do it. You have like two different dash things. When you jump up in the air, you have another set of moves for all those different things. And then you can like glide. I'm like, okay, it has the normal glide. It's like, but you also have, if you glide and press this button, you like drill down on someone. It was like, I was like, wow, this is almost fighting game-esque in just like how many different things you can do.
Based on the way you describe it, it sounds kind of like Smash Bros-esque.
Yeah,
maybe closer to Nickelodeon All Stars with the whole way with jumping and all that air moves.
Right. It feels more almost like a fighting game kind of thing like that more than just a beat 'em up thing. And I could already tell it's like, okay, I feel like this will not be as redundant, like as like repetitive or something as like maybe some other ones, because like I was already like juggling people up in the air and like comboing all these things together. And like now that I know it plays like that, I've seen some of the boss fights and I'm like, I bet this game gets wild as far as like people say it's very hard. So it's like now that I know it plays that good, I feel a lot more optimistic about being into the combat of this. So that's about all I can say. The story, I have obviously I've barely gotten into it, but it just immediately I was like, oh, this is vanilla. Like it feels like 13 Sentinels. It's more fantasy, obviously, but it's like, oh no, this is immediately recognizable. So cool. This could I would, with how much I love 13 Sentinels, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being a game that I'm raving about once I get into it. I hope it is. I certainly hope it is.
I need to play 13 Sentinels.
You do.
No matter how much you rave about this one, I'm playing that one first.
Oh no, you should. Yeah, do it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah.
So look forward to more Odens Sphere livers and livers impressions.
Yep. All right, there. We're going back to that Nick All Star well.
Woo, baby.
Play it a little more. We played with friends. Though strangely enough, despite having 6 people, we still stuck to 1v1.
Yeah, but it was hype.
Yeah, it was hype. We had a little tournament. Darby won. Congrats. The way he won, it's trash, but you know.
I found the broken character. It's usually not me, but I found the broken character.
Yeah. Yeah, so at least I've seen a lot of him as high tier. Maybe they don't have him as broken as we do because we're more of the casual sort, but Leonardo, the sword ninja turtle for people who can't keep track of all of which one's which.
Like me?
Yeah. Is pretty crazy. He just has range, hits pretty hard, and it's fast as fuck.
The speed is just ridiculous.
No, it's legitimately like when I was anyone but Leo playing against you, it's like I had no time to actually come out with a move.
And I mean, you were definitely figuring me out. And if we sat there and played for another hour, I think you would be beating me. It was like I just had a few more rounds, and like literally all I was doing. When I first played him, I did pretty good when I was just like doing all his different moves. But then eventually I was like, oh, I could just press side and do light attack over and over and over and over again, and it launches you so far and comes out instantaneously. So I'm just like, you're used to smash it. It's like I do this move and then this move, and then, there's a break in between. With Nick All Stars in general, but especially Leo, those moves just come out.
Yeah.
You just press the button. So I kind of would just push people off the stage. I mean, I don't even know if I was doing a lot of damage. It would just I just push. You just nudge them off
and
the stage.
Generally, I mean, it helps that at least as far as even if it's not doing like a crazy amount of damage, at least compared to Smash, it takes a lot less percentage wise to kill.
100%.
In most cases, unless we're like on the Powder Toast Man stage.
Yeah.
Or the like.
But in general, we had that whole tournament. I do wish that we had done the full group at some point, but we're gonna have more opportunities. But like, I thought it was very fun.
I was
certainly very fun.
Yeah, I was happy. I hope their opinion didn't change. I feel like they said it more in the beginning than maybe the end. But Preston and Alex was talking about getting it, so I'm hoping they liked it enough to where that's still true.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I'm feeling not that I was ever down in the game again.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds way worse like last week or whatever when I was talking about it, but like. I definitely like see a lot of value in this, and it was a fun thing that feels close to Smash but different in cool ways.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of been the reason I've been hyped for it, is for that reason. And it's nice to have something that could not exactly compete with Smash necessarily, but at least be talked about in the more general gaming circles.
Yeah.
Besides, like, the closest thing is Rattle the Ether, but that's just kind of still in the kind of hardcore Smash thing. Even like the Smash meme realm, just because of the mods and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to have any competition here and just like a different vibe, and it's good timing with Smash. Just releasing or about to release its final character.
Mm-hmm.
It's good timing to have like but we have this little breath of fresh air. Something.
And we get a kind of Smash hype cycle still going.
Yeah, exactly.
With the DLC for this game, which is pretty hype, especially since I'll say this, and people will probably find this fun. I've talked about it before. It's pretty much leaked and confirmed that Garfield's going to be one of the next two characters that was originally supposed to be in the base roster, but didn't make it in time. People have data mined his stage, and it made it playable on the PC version. And you're like in a Garfield's dream, and everything's like pizza and ice cream and shit are flying around, and you fight on a dish of lasagna.
Of course you do.
And it looks glorious.
Fantastic.
That's a weird thing with this game is like, obviously, like, it's not the best looking game overall. The budget shows in a lot of ways, but it is kind of crazy, especially when I'm watching and playing it more, like just the difference in quality in some of the models, and even like just the way the stages look.
The lack of consistency is the biggest thing.
Yeah, there's I think there's some stages that actually I think look outright good. They just look good in general. Mm-hmm. Some of the, I don't think any stages look bad, but some of them just kind of more basic and obviously budget. Yeah. When there's stuff like the Garfield stage that looks more out there and looks good.
Yeah. It looks very early accessy, just in the way it just doesn't look. It doesn't have that cohesion that even I've seen bad games that have more cohesion or whatever. I'm not, and it's certainly it's not like that big of a problem or whatever, but it's just you can kind of see. I don't even know if it was rushed as much as just like they only had so much budget. Yeah. They put it into some things and they were just not able to spread that budget around.
Well, I'm kind of saying it, but I don't think I've said it much on the podcast, and even haven't gone as far like when me and you were talking. Obviously, this game, they did not have, at least Nickelodeon, the publisher and the developer, just because of the way those two felt. They feel like this game, like, it was just going to release and that was it. October 5th was the release date, and that was just going to be the end of it.
Everyone says goodbye, I guess.
Yeah, but it immediately got the fan following, and obviously because of it, DLC was greenlit and all of that. So the game was going, and the developers have pretty much said, odds are this game is going to look very different a year from now than now.
I hope so. Yeah, that's a good time. Yeah.
So in some ways, you're saying early access. That was it kind of definitely seems that way. When unfortunately, this was originally just going to be it. But I don't blame the devs on that because unfortunately, with the Nick Overlords, they had a set schedule and a very small budget. But with this, they're going to be able to extend on things and look at the game and all that, and actually patch stuff, because it might have been the game was out and Leo and everyone else, Cat Dog, whoever the fuck is broken, is just broken forever.
And that would just kneecap this immediately as far as being like a competitive fighter, which I think is something that the devs want.
Yeah. Well, and the weird thing is, in interviews, they've said Nick was all gung-ho about the competitive, like, yeah, do it, go for it.
And I think I think that would be like, I don't think it won't get you as much sales as like appealing to the casual audience, which so you need to do that too. But as far as like longevity for your game, that's the best thing to keep your game relevant forever, is that you have these communities that get around it in a competitive sense.
And the good thing is getting support for DLC and stuff. And based on data mining and just people close to the dev talk, there's a pretty good chance that Jimmy Neutron, Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life, and potentially Jenny from My Life as a Teenage Robot are probably going to be DLC characters. Because Rocco and Jimmy were in the files, in the game files, and the only two series in there that were not already repped or coming, like Garfield. And a mod on the Discord who seems to be close with, like, actually legit knows the developers, pretty much said, hey, that whole Frederator thing, which was stopping, like, people were talking about stopping Fairly Odd Parents and stuff, that's technically not true. Fairly Odd Parents has its own problems, apparently. Probably people are now just speculating it's because of, like, it came out on, like, Disney in some countries, so there might be some weird things with that. But they even said, hey, but My Life as a Teenage Robot, the series with the most requested character, maybe besides Timmy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He pretty much said, like, you should probably expect her to come.
Yeah, that's dope. Obviously, I will mourn Timmy not being in there forever, but like that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, so that is hype, and we will obviously talk about the game as we get more information and we play more of it. But it is a lot of fun, and it's been fun watching pro people get their hands on it, even more of the casual things, people learning it. When we were playing, I was pleasantly surprised overall how quickly everyone adapted to the controls, because I was a little worried, because I've seen it with some streamers, where just because there's a button for jump, like they weird. Can't get wrap their mind around that immediately, so they're like, this game's trash. So I was a little worried about that.
I think I've gotten used to it faster than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Too, and like having the light and heavy attack is a cool new different thing for this.
Good way to differentiate it. And people were like, oh, there's no like side specials technically. It's like, well, yes, but there's still more moves, because heavy and light are completely different buttons and all that.
Yeah, and there's a whole new I've barely used all the air moves, and that's a whole different facet of the game that I need to practice.
Yeah, I've been trying to mess around with it when I'm playing on my own. I tried a couple times in that tournament. I was afraid to, because playing against people.
The closest thing is just when you finally figured out how to stop me from doing the side light attack, I just jumped above you and did it from above you. It's all light attack no matter what.
Yeah, this game is a lot more about spiking, it feels like. I mean, Smash Lobby has that, but this one feels like it's more designed around that, so I would definitely try to do that. Top's down smash attack with that wall coming down is very good for that.
Spam it. So everyone could just do their abilities so fast. There's such a small cooldown window on like everything in the game. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you can pretty much cancel about anything into about anything else. It's wild.
It is like Smash unhinged.
Yep,
which is cool.
Turning into that news, Derby.
News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jangle. Darby, it's time to talk about our favorite thing. Twitch getting hacked.
Money.
Yes. So Twitch got hacked and Twitch technically leaked.
All right, and I will finally admit I did it. I hacked Twitch.
We got them.
Yeah, we did get them.
Police are on their way. Let's go.
They are indeed on their way.
So yeah, Twitch leaked.
Actually just got taken down as soon as that's it.
Yep. So yeah, Twitch leaked and all that kind of stuff. A bunch of stuff was shown. I think the source code for the website was also posted, which is own can.
This is a big boy hack.
Yes. But naturally, everyone's focusing on creator payouts. what those people are making. Shocker. The top
It's a lot.
streamers make money.
Yeah.
Some a lot more than others. XQC.
Yeah, there's a pretty big drop off from XQC
Yeah.
down. But like, no, I mean, this is something that's like, I mean, I guess when you see the number, it gets pretty stark. Like XQC making $700,000 a month or something, at least. When you see it, it gets pretty stark. But I mean, like, I think we kind of knew the top Twitch streamers.
I'm
made
going to
a
be
shit
honest.
ton of
Besides
money.
XQC, a lot of them made less than I thought they
Yeah,
did.
honestly, I agree.
But I guess there's still, because that's only from the Twitch subs, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
And stuff. So I guess there's whatever
well,
ads and I guess YouTube and whatever else they got going
Patreon,
on.
whatever
Yeah,
else they're
Patreon.
doing. A lot of people
Yeah.
have different revenue streams at this point.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, yeah. XQC's OnlyFans, great.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think which we've always known, it's very hard to make a living with it, but the people at the top get enough views and all these other things. I mean, it's something that like even everyone was saying like these numbers are not new. Like you could have added up their like view count and like figured out what this number was.
Yeah, I think a lot of them actually do have like their sub counts on them, and that's just the way it is.
It's like a lot of these people you could already have figured out.
Yeah. Okay. So multiply that by 5. Put out whatever Twitch's cut is. Right. There you go.
Yep. Yeah. You at least had a ballpark, so I don't think any of this should be that surprising. Just no one wanted to do the math.
Yeah.
It just wasn't as out there. You know? Yeah. I mean, do you have any takes on this?
It is interesting and stuff. Well, apparently there was some stuff about an unreleased Steam competitor codenamed Vapor from Amazon Game Studios. Like, Amazon's weird where I don't know their exact read on like how far they're willing to go for this shit, because in some ways I kind of equate them to Google, who tries a bunch of shit and then just kind of drops it, like, you know, they just did with Stadia. But at least with comparing them, Amazon now has a big hit in New World.
I know. Yeah, I was about to say they actually have a bona fide like good game that people are interested in.
Yeah,
that's doing something different, new. It's like,
the main thing I saw was queue times and shit, but that's for any MMO
for sure.
launching
for sure.
Like Endwalker, when that stuff for Final Fantasy 14. Oh boy,
yeah.
That in the the score, the FF14 team's already like, okay, guys, you're gonna have to give us time.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, it's gonna be bad. You know, when they're telling you it's gonna be bad.
Good for them.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. But I mean, not that they just made this all about New World. But I mean, this is a pretty big moment for Amazon with that, you know, trying to get into the gaming industry. I mean, this does feel like a success that like Google and other teams didn't really have, because Google never really had a game to to push this.
They had. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I would say the most they had was like one small
the Tango Works.
Yeah, the Tango Works game.
It was certainly not. I mean, even if it's critically loved, I mean, New World is a financial like big thing, which is what you need here. And I mean, I think it's smart that not that Amazon has tried Luna and all these other things or whatever, but it feels like they haven't like put all their money on that stuff or whatever, and they're just starting with like, let's make a really good game. Oh, people are interested in this, so let's like go from there. So
well, I just had a thought. Another thing that particularly interests me, but aren't they working on Lord of the Rings MMO as well?
Yeah, I know there's a Lord of the Rings MMO. I forget.
I want to say it's related to Amazon.
Yeah, I do think,
because I think they're working on the series as well.
I think I remember people talking about the Amazon. You sure you want to make 2 MMOs? You know, it's like, it's so hard to get an MMO to be successful. You sure?
I mean, weirdly enough, like, I mean, that is definitely a fair thing, but it's also kind of like probably got people more excited, even if they're not interested in New World. It's like, oh, Amazon was able to release it was like a successful MMO. Where's the Lord of the Rings?
But if it hits, oh boy, you're gonna be ranking it. And I mean, New World in a lot of ways, like from everything I've seen a decent bit of that game, and it really does seem like it's it has like problems, but it's doing something very cool for the MMO space. The fact is the action combat. No, it's not the first one to do that, but it's like way more action combat, and just how player driven and everything it is. I don't know how much you've seen, but there's like
very little.
There's like 3 factions or whatever, and like you actually like the players in the factions like are at war with each other, and you can have these big wars or whatever, and you take over a town, and then you can decide, like your faction decides like the shop prices and taxes and stuff like that.
Okay,
and if other people come into your world, you can like charge them money to do certain things or whatever. It's like in like everything, like every shop thing you go to, everything is completely player dictated. at that point, like the entire economy, all of that or whatever. And depending on like, apparently there was at the beginning of the game, there was like there's a green, yellow, and purple faction, I think, and like the green faction was like overwhelmingly bigger than the other two, but then the yellow faction like took them over. So all these people were like, suddenly they had all this money, and suddenly like everything was more expensive for them. And then apparently the purple faction is just wiped off the face of the planet. Apparently there is no more purple faction because they just got destroyed. And it's like that's the type of thing that it makes it like messy and everything. Obviously, if you're logged in purple, you're like, oh god, this sucks or whatever. But like I kind of like that, like when they get like that's something fun that the MMO can do that RPG can't. Is like we don't know what's gonna happen.
And like, at least it's fun. I mean, at least I'm sure there's other MMOs that do something similar, but at least that kind of gives its own identity.
Because like Final Fantasy 14, as great as it is and everything, it's very structured, and it's a story that's being told, and it's a theme park MMO. It's like you can't really change it very much. You're kind of just there to see the sights and everything, which is great. I mean, it's a totally cool thing. And from what everyone's, I mean, I think 14 story is like far surpasses New Worlds and all these other ones. But it's kind of cool for it to have like, and even WoW kind of used to be more player centered, but it became more like just, railroaded too. So to just have complete Wild West, like you don't know what's going to happen. That's pretty cool. That's something I love. That type of shit. I love hearing about that type of shit in the MMO, even if I rarely am involved. But it's just cool.
Neat. Good New World discussion, Darby.
Yep. You never know where it's gonna go, dude.
All right, Darby. Time to continue talking about a rumor we talked about last week relating to Konami. This comes from Jaron Moore from IGN. An employee from Virtuos, the studio rumored to be making Metal Gear Solid 3, has confirmed that the developer is working on an unannounced AAA action-adventure game remake. As spotted by Twitter user Phazon Shake, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Nailed it.
Yeah. And ported by VGC, Video Game Chronicles. Virtuos led programmer Jiang Li references a AAA remake in his LinkedIn page, stating to have been working on the project since 2018. I'll kind of stop there. So rumors started coming out last week of Konami starting to work on actually make games.
What?
Yeah, and rumors specifically being Virtuos making a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, and this it's kind of like, oh, okay, maybe this is a little hidden truth of that. It's still weird to me that they're going straight to 3.
You know more about Metal Gear. Is that like just like the most loved and most popular one or something?
Yes. It's a weird Metal Gear's a weird thing. I've watched all the games you played, so I know a lot about it. It's definitely it's my favorite to watch. But yeah, it's probably, if you ask a bunch of Metal Gear fans, like a little poll of which game is their favorite, 3 and 1 are probably going to be the most popular too, and 3 might edge out 1. I'm not 100% sure. Might get a little 4 in there, maybe even a little 2. I don't know. It's weird how split it can be. Like people have their own favorite, which is neat. But people have also been really wanting a 1 remake, so I'm just kind of surprised we're not getting that. They're just kind of going down the line.
Yeah, it is interesting. Resident Evil is definitely like it makes me wonder: are they not planning to do this for any other games? Because like Resident Evil is definitely like going through the history here, whereas this is more like, I mean, maybe they had to be sold on this concept anyway, so they're like, hey, if we do 3, we know it's gonna sell or something. I don't know.
Also, something thinking, I just thought about it now, reading that date again. If they're working at 2018, this is probably a pretty robust all-in remake if it's taking them 3 years. Sure. I know COVID, but
how old is 3?
Let me double check.
How much of a remake? Like,
I think visually,
how much does it need a remake?
I can't speak for gameplay, but visually, I think it holds up. It holds up decently well. With the remasters. 2014. Or sorry, 2004.
I was about to say what?
Yeah. Sorry, 2004.
It came out a year before Phantom Pain.
Team, man. Yeah, 2004.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
So
that's like Sly 2 time.
But if they mess with Snake Eater, we execute them.
Yeah.
The song, Derby Snake.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought there was a game called.
No.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Perfection.
Yeah, that song does slap. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Now, what would be your interest level, seeing that you haven't played a Metal Gear, but you like all the Metal Gears? Would you potentially jump in on a 3 remake immediately?
I might. Yeah, since I know them, there's no point in as much of me going in order necessarily. And timeline wise, is probably one of the first one.
Oh, okay.
Without going into it.
I know it jumped all over the place.
Yeah. It may not be like the first one necessarily, but it's one of the first in the game for sure. I can't remember if there's like one of the smaller non-numbered entries that are technically before it or not. But yeah, this might be the first technically timeline wise. But yeah, I would potentially be interested, especially depending what they did with the game and all of that. So, and because of that, yeah, I probably should actually play them at some point and experience all that nonsense for myself and the gameplay kookiness. So, kind of that from that standpoint, I'm kind of bummed they didn't remake one. Also, they just need to get all of them on current gen consoles anyway, because Metal Gear Solid 4 is still stuck in the PS3.
Sucks. Some bullshit.
Some bullshit.
Some bullshit. You think what's the chance that they're sneakily texting Kojima asking him for his input on things without Konami knowing? They're like, all right, Kojima, we're gonna send you a little build here.
Okay, but real talk though.
Hush.
Yeah,
we're also
would Jeff Keighley abstain from showing this game or having it as words in any way, shape, or form if Kojima's not involved?
I can see it.
Or at least gives his blessing.
I can see it. I just like the idea of, are you talking to Kojima? Oh, no, we haven't talked to Kojima at all. It's like, I saw you added something crazy in here. I know that wasn't you. Dave.
They somehow put an extra mission in it, and it somehow connects to Death Stranding.
Oh my god. No.
Well, do I want to talk about more remakes?
Sure. It's like 90% of the video game industry anymore.
True. So apparently they might be getting a remake from a big PlayStation game. I'm not going to read all this, but the general story is that folk singer... Stop with these names, people.
Stop having generic American names.
Seriously. So inconsiderate. Ava... McMahon, who now performs as Ava. See, that's easy. That's nice and easy. Told an Irish radio station that she recorded an Irish language song for what she calls a big PlayStation remake. So wrote a song with Michael McGlynn, and yeah. And also apparently people are thinking it could be a Xenogears remake, possibly. Yasunori Masuda, a composer who worked for Chrono, Xeno, the Shadow Hearts franchises, tweeted a photo last week of McGlynn and his daughter preparing to perform music remotely.
Well,
that could be a different thing, obviously, because these people work on different projects, but it could be something.
Could be.
I know you want it to be, Darby.
Oh, it's not though.
I know, but what do you think it could be?
He's talking about like Sly Cooper or something,
yeah.
Which it's fucking not. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Xenogears. Was it tied to PlayStation in some big way? They don't.
It was exclusive. It's the weird thing about this. Why when people talk about big PlayStation shit, they'll talk about like Metal Gear, which is technically not PlayStation franchise, and Xenogears and the like.
Yeah.
So, and I think there are actually Celtic songs in Xenogears, if I'm not mistaken, which gives a little credence to that being it.
So did you play Xenogears?
I have not. That was before my time. No, it wasn't before my time. But
Xenogears connected to Xenosaga and Xenoblade and all these other ones. Isn't there some weird connection between all of them?
Yeah, the Zohar tends to be the thing that connects them. There are loose connections to them. That
font looks just like the Xenoblade font too.
I mean, it was developed by like Monolith Soft people.
Yeah,
for sure. But Square owns the rights to the game. Mm-hmm. So I mean, let me put it this way: if it is Xenogears, I'm playing the shit out of it. No questions asked.
It just seems like it would be your shit. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I had a PS1, I was already would have played this game. Yeah. But I mean, it's probably on. I'll wait and see what this thing is. But also related to this is, according to Ava, it's supposed to be announced around Christmas time.
Nice.
So Game Awards.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's like not something I would have thought. It makes me think that we might be heading towards. I mean, probably Final Fantasy VII Remake and everything helped with this, but we might be heading towards a reality where something like a Chrono Trigger remake or something could be a possibility, or even a Final Fantasy VI thing. Even if it's not on the scale as a Final Fantasy VII Remake, it could still be, if it's even half of that, it could still be pretty damn cool. I mean, and so this is like an RPG of that era, right? I mean, it came out like sometime around then, so it's like that's
1998.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it could also just be something else. People, for a lot of names, the problem is like, we can get crazy. It's like, oh, what is it? Because I want to say, like, I just saw some stuff related to Kind of Funny talking about it on PS I Love You. And I saw Greg like, Infamous, please. It's like, if it was related to that, what they were talking about, it's like, I don't know if they're going to have Irish songs in Infamous.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the whole Celtic thing kind of narrows it down a little bit of what it could potentially be.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to make that connection.
Yeah, like I said, apparently, I saw something about Xenogears having that in there. I think maybe I might be wrong on that. Yeah.
Infamous just needs a port for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have trouble thinking of too many other things. Like,
let me look real quick. I might be wrong on the Xenogears thing. Let's see.
Not that it would even be Celtic or Celtic or whatever, but like I don't think they would be. I don't think they'll do like a. I'm just trying to think of Sony games. I don't think they would do like a God of War remake with the new ones and stuff out now. And that would be more Greek music probably anyway. So I don't know.
Oh, can't find it.
Xenogears sounds hype.
Yeah. That'd be cool if that was potentially it.
Like an old RPG like that is, I mean, there's something more exciting about that than even something like as hyped as I am for it in ways like Dead Space that, not that old of a game in the grand scheme of things. It's kind of cool to have Final Fantasy VII or Xenogears and stuff like that could have basically be a different game. And that's just exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yup. Speaking of remakes, they're remaking Resident Evil as a movie. Sorry, I needed something.
I should have watched this trailer. I've just heard that. I know what song features in it.
Yeah. Well, there are two trailers for this, Darby. Yeah. A regular trailer, international trailer. International trailer is definitely better than the quote unquote normal American one. Because they throw in the normal bullshit songs like yeah. Movie looks rough in a lot of ways. So characterized, I think the stuff can look good. Like it looks pretty good as far as like who they got in them seem in action and stuff. It seems to be cheesy as hell. So it's hard to exactly get like as far as dialogue. Get a feel on that because it is Resident Evil. It is cheesy as fuck. But what I can say for sure, CGI, not good.
Yeah.
Not good at all. The one monster I think towards the end of the trailer, at least the first original one, that just looks really, really, really bad.
Yeah, you keep talking this just for me.
Yeah. But also what's weird about this, I am very worried about pacing for this because it looks like they are trying to adapt like 2 to 3.5 games in one.
Yeah, that's never a good sign for just...
Yeah, because there's obviously one in here. There's 2 stuff in here. Probably because 2 stuff's in there. There might be 3 stuff in here. I think there might be some stuff hidden in there. I can't remember. There's some Code Veronica stuff in here. So it's like they're doing everything all at once. So like the sequel, I mean... I don't think I saw any 3 stuff in there. I saw people talk about the possibility of that since, this isn't an unknown thing. 2 and 3 take place at the exact same time.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if they're doing all the rest of it, I could see that being a surprise for the movie, or when nothing's a surprise for the movie anymore. There'll probably be the trailer right before the movie comes out that they'll show Jill or something.
But like, if this goes on as a series, it's like, so we're immediately going to Resident Evil 4 next?
Yeah, that just feels like too crowded of a movie. It feels like
again, I don't see anything, at least to me, that looks like it's anything related to T in this. I mean, Jill's in the movie, obviously, but just for one stuff in this. So I'm hoping they at least save that for a potential sequel for the sake of the movie.
It feels like the DCEU just trying to get to the Justice League way too fast, and that's what it seems like to me.
I mean, and it's partly it has stuff from both in there, but they're obviously taking their own liberties with it, because it seems like it starts with Claire coming to Raccoon City and meeting Chris before technically the events of 1.
Yeah.
So there's some, they're doing the sound of their own thing with it at least, but staying with a lot of big stuff in it.
I mean, at least it does look recognizably Resident Evil as far as like, I mean,
unlike the other series of movies.
I mean, even as little as I know, I can tell that this is Resident Evil 2, and I can tell the plot that's going on, even if they're doing too much with it. I can whatever. And again, I'm a bad metric for this. If it looks cheesy and corny, I'm like, guys, you realize how cheesy Resident Evil 2 is?
Yeah,
or Resident Evil in general is. Like,
it's a lot of people complaining about that. It's like, it's Resident Evil.
Yeah, I mean, I'm someone who just hates the Resident Evil storytelling anyway. So I'm like, if there's a bad movie trailer, I'm like, that tracks. That tracks for me. I do agree that some of the CGI looked better than I thought it would, but then
I'm liking the liquor or whatever. But I don't think it looks too bad.
Yeah,
it's the giant one at the end that's like,
some of it straight up looks like a car, like it's a Space Jam or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's like, man, you might have been better just putting the model from the game in here.
Yeah, it doesn't look awful like it's gonna be completely memed out of existence. I think people will probably over exaggerate. I mean, I don't think any of this is needed, and I don't think Resident Evil as a story is particularly innovative or interesting. I think it's way better as a game. I think when you take the game out of it and just make it a story, it's just gonna be a kind of whatever horror story, in my opinion.
Yeah. So. I'm curious if, obviously how people feel about the movie anyway, how maybe I feel about it. Might go just see it. I got a little more motivation from the podcast I can talk about in here. And luckily for me, you won't give a shit if I talk about it without you seeing it. So, that could be fun.
Sadly, I have no interest in sitting through an entire movie of that.
No, but I'm curious to see, I guess, opinions from potentially non-Resident Evil fans, how it kind of holds up that way. I'm not expecting great things from it.
I just think it's going to be just a kind of middle-of-the-road horror movie. It's better thriller movie, whatever. Yeah. It's not. I can already tell you, looking at that trailer, it's not going to be the worst video game movie.
No,
it's like it's already, I think, crossed that bar.
Very.
So there you go.
But it get close to the greatness of Sonic. That remains to be seen. Also, one thing though that is rumored, which I will hate, is that Wesker and Jill might be in a relationship, and I'm like, no, don't.
Isn't he like horrible?
Yeah, he's a horrible person. But they need a final reveal because he's not in there of him putting the sunglasses on. I need that at least.
Of course.
Yes. And him saying total global saturation. I need it.
At least it looks like and I think Easy Out said the same thing. It looks like the people making the movie have at least played the games.
True.
So I think it's a step up from the Monster Hunter movie and all the previous Resident Evil movies. So
yeah, made from the same guy. Say that track.
Yeah.
What does he have on Capcom?
He just Googles a picture of Rathlos. He's like, say no more. I've seen enough.
That's a big sword. Make my wife hold it.
Yeah, that's right.
My wife's a god. Speaking of Capcom, they said no things.
They said the no things. They're being
by
bad.
No, I mean no crossplay, no cross save for Monster Hunter
Rise. Why? I want it.
And here's their statement on Twitters. We've heard your request for crossplay for Monster Hunter Rise and Sunray, but unfortunately, after looking into it throughout the development process, we found we are unable to implement it this time. As always, we appreciate your continued feedback and support.
Jeff, do you call shenanigans?
A little bit, yeah. I try not to with this stuff, but I don't. I mean, and this does obviously come when I say a place of ignorance of how hard this shit might actually be. But we've had multiple games do this between the Switch and Steam. So I don't know why this game in particular would have that issue. I don't know.
It doesn't.
Maybe it's a weird thing where it's easier if the game came out first on Steam or some shit. I don't know. I'm just trying to give them some benefit of the doubt.
I will leave it open to be a potential problem because we for sure don't know a lot. The thing that makes it weird for me is it's a thing they put on a poll asking, do you want this? And it was like
2 weeks ago.
Couldn't do that, then why did you even bring it up?
Because I got to imagine this was not new. I imagine they didn't just start looking into it and like, oops.
Well, I mean, the fact that you put it out there means that however hard it is, that was like on your list of things you might do. It's weird, and it doesn't seem like like you said, it was only 2 weeks ago. Like, how much could it be? Like, well, we thought we could do it, but man, it's just too much. It's like,
it's like even if you suddenly started looking at it, it only takes 2 weeks to figure out you can't do it. Maybe I don't know. You try everything. I don't know.
I don't want to read too much into it, but it just seems like but it's the same type of thing. Like, honestly, even if it's hard, like people said the same type of shit for crossplay.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, it's just we just can't do it too hard or whatever. And then suddenly when it became like all your competitors are doing it and you're going to be losing money, suddenly it's you can do it. You can do it or whatever. I mean, there's like a lot of these things. If you like threaten them, if you like say that you're falling behind your competitors, suddenly they find the miracle to be able to do it. So like I just have trouble.
Well, and the thing is, this just loses them sales because that just stops a whole lot of people from double dipping.
I agree, but it's like they just don't even want to put the effort or whatever when they don't have to, and they obviously don't feel like they have to. I don't know. That's weird.
They just lost $1 million in sales. Maybe. I don't know.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
Zero idea what that would probably not that many people are gonna like double dip in both, but it's still it's just a nice thing to offer, like, it's I think I think it'll be slower, but I think that will start to become more of the standard. I mean, crossplay is just has a bigger audience of people who are gonna like, I have this, my friend. I have a PlayStation. My friend has an Xbox. There's a lot less people that's like, I'm gonna spend $120 on Monster Hunter to buy the Switch and the Steam version. It's like there's just less of those people. Yeah,
and well, just in this case, because the Switch version came out first, people would not be as outraged if they just came out at the same time. But yeah, and I mean, strangely enough, I feel like we'll get to it won't be too long until this is just a common thing for Capcom games, because they've said recently that they see PC as kind of their future and expecting it or / hoping it being like 50% of their
and like
sales.
This does not really go along with that statement very well. It's like, if that's going to be your future, then
I wonder if it's a weird thing with the Monster Hunter team. Is with some things it feels like they just have a lot of power. Yeah.
Probably when you put out Capcom's best-selling game of all time, you probably get a lot of power.
True. No, you know who didn't have a lot of power at Sega Derby?
Nagoshi,
maybe. I don't know. He probably had a decent amount of power. This comes from Matt Baker from IGN. Yakuza series creator Toshihiro Nagoshi has confirmed that he will be leaving both Ryuga Gotoku Studio and Sega. As part of the restructuring announcement, RGG Studio also confirmed is currently working on a sequel to Yakuza Like a Dragon. This news from Ryuga Gotoku Studio Nagoshi follows a report that said Chinese developer and publisher NetEase was in final negotiations with Nagoshi to hire him from Sega, the company he has been with since 1989.
So is he the main Yakuza guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the big guy, and he gone.
Well, he's clearly done a whole hell of a lot for this. Like, the franchise is by far in the best place it's ever been. So, I'm like, I don't think I've read too much. I mean, it obviously shows that Chinese everything in the video game industry has lots of money and is pulling every studio and every person, it's like they have a lot of influence or whatever. But
Yep.
I don't think this is something you should worry about the Yakuza franchise or anything like that if that's the direction people are taking it, because dude has made a fucking lot of Yakuza games. If he's been there since the beginning of
Well, I was looking at it because I know he's done a lot more. Like, okay, I was right. He was also the director for Super Monkey Ball games.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot of shit.
He's done a lot of shit. I wouldn't blame him for moving somewhere else. But NetEase and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of moving around in the video game industry.
And something I guess is also cool, they just kind of confirmed. It was kind of an obvious thing that the next Yakuza is going to be a direct continuation of Like a Dragon.
Yep.
And they're going to continue. I'm blanking on his name. I just had it on there.
Ichiban?
Yeah, Ichiban's story.
Yeah. And it makes sense when they said that Yakuza was going to be turn-based for the foreseeable future, and
Judgment was going to... Well, if it continues as the series, it was going to have the more classic Yakuza gameplay, which, things are looking good for Yakuza, even with this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No,
and even the guy, I don't have it on here, the guy who's kind of replacing them as the head, at least for the foreseeable future, been there a long time. So, obviously good hands on the line.
I think it sounds like, with a guy being there that long, I'd have to think you were already thinking about a succession plan. I'm sure I'm not worried about it.
Neat. So I think it's a little less neat, for sure. Let's see. Put in time code. Koichi Sugiyama, composer of the Dragon Quest series, has passed away at the age of 90.
Yep. Obviously, we'll hold myself back some. We're talking ill of the dead and everything, but very controversial, man. Lots of just truly despicable things said about LGBT people and other things,
War crime denier, this can go on.
Not someone I'm gonna spend much time mourning, but obviously a very big figure in the Japanese video game scene for Dragon Quest, for everything else. It's a complicated thing, but
and was reminded in the Allies podcast that he's the reason concerts actually happen with video game series.
Yeah. No, I mean,
a big reason for that.
Undeniably, very huge impact on the video game industry. All the other stuff notwithstanding. I do think because again, not going to spend much time mourning him, or any of that stuff, but I do think it is a big deal for the Dragon Quest series and for everything else. I do think some things could change a lot because of this. As far as like the ridiculous rights like withholding of Dragon Quest music, and the fact that whatever the weird deal they have for this guy's music caused Dragon Quest 11 to not even have its own music. Like, the music made for Dragon Quest 11 was not in Dragon Quest 11, which is still the most ridiculous thing I could ever remember hearing in video game music stuff. It's ridiculous.
Darby, if it was there, it would have stopped his concert sales.
So just go make your own music somewhere else then. Why does it have to be Dragon Quest? It's so weird. They're like, I'm gonna tank your game's music just to have this. Like, it's not. How is it even Dragon Quest music at that point? It's so strange. It actively ended up making Dragon Quest, the series that's known for its fantastic music, and I think 11's original soundtrack is just straight up bad. And
orchestral version?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. But the version that everyone had for many years was bad, for whatever until the Switch. And I guess the base one still doesn't have the orchestra. You have to buy the deluxe edition either way on Steam or it's just bad. So that's. I hope this means that future Dragon Quest games can be free of this shit. I'm hoping.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, sorry. I dominated the conversation. You're the Dragon Quest fan, but I mean, there's not a whole lot to say.
Yeah. Well, are you ready to get to other news?
Other news.
Megas That's last week. Quickest we got from there in quite some time.
Hey, that's all right.
Rockstar has announced a GTA trilogy, and it is being released later this year.
Hey, Jeff, guess what's going to sell a lot?
GTA trilogy.
You guessed it.
Yep, and just in case you're curious what this means, the trilogy is a GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas.
Guess what's going to be top 10 PDs probably for a long time.
GTA 5 stopped being on there. I can't remember the reason, so this might not be on there for whatever the reason was.
Why do you think this one wouldn't be on there? These people will be buying this because they don't have these games.
And I can't remember why, but I don't know if you remember. GTA 5 hasn't been on the chart because just for some reason it's not being reported, or something is stopping it from being reported. So I'm just saying this might have similar things.
I thought you were saying because people stopped buying
no,
over 10 years, or almost 10 years later, that means that people are done with GTA.
No. That's not what I mean.
Gotcha.
It would. I think it's safe to say GTA 5 we'd be talking about in the NPDs every month if for some reason it's just not being reported on.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Whether it's
No.
We all know those games gonna be selling a shit ton. So
neat. Fall Guys might bring back a drop game idea based on Red Light Green Light after success of Netflix's Squid Game, which is now the most watched show ever. 111 million viewers in its first month.
Like ever on Netflix or just ever?
Ever on Netflix, which is very high.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
It's weird. I still don't hear about this game. I guess I'm just not on the internet very much.
Good shit. Don't let little kids watch it, despite what, even if their classmates are watching it, don't let them. I'm just seeing a lot of stuff like 10-year-olds are coming up like, Mommy, Daddy, let me watch Squid Game. All my friends are watching it.
Well,
okay. Oh, fuck. Their head got blown off.
Oh, no. Well, that's cool. I mean, like, the Fall Guys devs do seem like they run a very loose ship in a very good way there, that they can kind of just do what they want. And this is definitely a good example of that. They're like, and like, I think they just have a good head on their shoulders as far as, let's lean into the pop culture stuff, you know, in a similar way that like Fortnite does.
I can see them because they have like the goons in Squid Game kind of have like a unique little design. I see them trying to get like that for the costume for the beans.
I know nothing about the red light, green light in the context of Squid Game, but that sounds like that could be a cool game mode for you know, like if you don't stop, you die or something. Something comes and
no, well, it's literally you get if you're moving when it's red light, you just get shot.
That could be cool. Like something just like there's people like on the side or something. They just like launch something at you. You're like,
yeah. What I hope happens during this if they bring it back, because obviously it happens in Squid Game, is when someone like loses and gets eliminated, like their body moves or flies or something, and it can potentially affect someone else and cause them to move.
Yeah, that'd be great. Like, God damn it.
Yeah. So positioning might be important. That'd be fun.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Resident Evil 7 has shipped 10 million copies, making it the most shipped Resident Evil game.
Well,
not counting like ones with remakes and a bunch of re-releases and stuff. As far as it's still the one version of the game.
Is this supposed to say 8 or is this 7?
It's 7.
It's 7. Okay.
8's not there yet, but 7 has had legs.
yeah. I was about to say, wow. I didn't even know that game was still like selling that much.
And it's kind of crazy because despite how well it's selling, you don't hear about it as much as people talking about it. It kind of feels like it, at least in comparison.
I mean, people are 7. I'm still thinking about 8.
When you compare it to sales of other more recent Resident Evil ones, they've sold really well, but this one just has sold a good bit more forever.
I think a lot of times you see like the revival of the franchise ends up selling a ton, even if it's not the most critically acclaimed thing.
And this was critically acclaimed, but doesn't feel like at the level of a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And finally, the Pokemon Company has announced a long-term partnership with Universal Studios Japan to add Pokemon-themed attractions to the Osaka theme park. And rumor is it could potentially be tied into Nintendo World instead of getting its own section.
Nice. That would be better, yeah.
Bring that over
Bring
here
it to Orlando, please.
In a timely manner,
please.
We'll get this in 2030, maybe.
I just want a big old Snorlax to give me a hug.
Yeah,
walking around Orlando. That's all I ask.
Yep. I want to bumper cars, but they're just all Pokemon.
Fuck yeah, dude! I want to drink a Pikachu slushy.
I want my Moo Moo milk.
I want my Moo Moo milk
from Milk Tank. Fresh from Milk Tank.
Baby needs his Moo Moo milk. Chalky milk makes the pain go away. Main topic, Jeffrey.
Main topic. Yeah. All right, Darby. So here's what we're doing here today. That their Game Awards is coming up in less than 2 months at this point. The deadline for the games is in about a month. So, arguably we're doing this a little early.
Get playing.
But I feel like a lot of the GOTY nominees, potential GOTY nominees, have come out. Besides, like, one I put in here. We might get surprised, but based on precedents, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a list here. I got them in alphabetical order of some of the top review games of the year. Well, mix of top reviews / people talking about. Obviously, there are a lot of top review ones that are kind of smaller indie-ish games. Some I've heard of, some I have not. Unfortunately, I don't think those have a shot.
Yep, Jeff has a very AAA focused thing about his shows for sure. And it's also worth noting that Halo Infinite is going to be after the cutoff for the thing.
Well, that's the cutoff. It's the day before. It comes out the day before the actual show.
Yeah. just worth noting.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna go through it, and we'll have 3 different, I guess, lists for we can just kind of separate them into, and just kind of once we go down the list, and then once we get through it, we can just kind of move things if we want. We can set. We'll have one that's like, will be the nominee, maybe, and then nah.
In maybe or nah. And maybe not.
Maybe not. All right, so let's get down that list, Darby.
Let's get down to business.
Mm-hmm. I said alphabetical order. First one, Chicory, A Colorful Tale. 87 on Open Critic. I put this one here. It is an indie game. It is a smaller game. But I feel like this one got a lot more talk than
I've seen a good number of people say it was their game of the year. I think this is gonna be one of those, like, some outlets.
Yeah,
it's gonna be one of those sneaky ones that's like obviously not gonna be like the majority of people or whatever, but there's gonna be people like really championing it or whatever. And I've heard a lot about this game, and I've just heard about it on podcasts and never taken time to actually look at it. I'll just look at like Google images and things or whatever. I'm like, yep, it looks cute. It sounds really cool though. It sounds like a game I might be into, so I should check it out. But sadly, I don't think it really has a shot just because of being nominated myself. I mean, you can say otherwise if you want, but just because the nature of the Game Awards, I just don't think.
I'm thinking maybe putting it in. I feel like there's a very good chance it's not, but I feel like maybe putting in the maybe since this is the first one. Because I feel like, and I might bring this up for some of the other ones, and I didn't say this at the top, but part of the we did this last year, but this one's kind of more exciting because I don't feel like there are any clear cut games ahead.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have some arguments. We're gonna have some debates back and forth, and I could be dissuaded off of whatever the hell I think. I don't even know what I think right now. But.
Yeah, I feel like Chicory could maybe have a chance to where I might put it in the maybe thing right now, partly because it's the first game. Because, like you said, there are multiple people that said this is their game of the year.
For sure.
Some of these games like people really like, but I feel like I've seen as much of that.
For sure. I support it. The motion passes.
Whoop whoop. Second game, Deathloop.
Yeah, I don't need a lead every single time, but I think it's in.
I think so too. I think it does enough interesting things to kind of set it apart, and enough people played it. It's the right kind of game and all that. And again, the right people played it and said they really loved it. It's like it's one of their top games of the year. Yeah. This is one of those where I'm just thinking this might be one of the only ones where I don't need much debating or convincing to say it's in.
No, it's one of the ones that stands out the most, I think, in it doing something different. I mean, like it being kind of an innovative game in some of its concepts and stuff. Like it strikes me like it and It Takes Two kind of strike me as like these kind of, within a genre, but kind of like pushing outside of it in ways. Yeah, I think I would be shocked if it's not. And then big studio, big thing. Yeah.
Indeed. Next one, Death's Door. One of the other indie ones. It's definitely talked about more than a lot of these other ones. But I feel like it kind of came and went.
Yeah, in a weird way, even though I would say like this year overall is like lighter, like not as strong as like last year. or it's not
Well,
like
as far as the top heavy hitters, I feel like
that's what I'm about
yeah.
to get to. Is like I don't think it's like it doesn't have those like ones there, but I honestly feel like it would have had like a better shot like last year or something because this is just so spread out. There's a lot of games that are around the same level or whatever. So I think like this had a chance of being like the Hades or something from last year, but. Number one, there's too many games around the same level, and number two, it didn't. I don't think it reached the heights of Hades like that.
I feel like when I kind of tossed this or said potentially doing this, mentioned maybe what other categories this could be in. I feel like this and Chicory or she wins for best indie game.
No,
as far as being nominated, like no questions asked.
For sure. But interesting. I think Death's Door has a better shot than Chicory, but you maybe disagree with that. Just the style of game that I normally see in the Game Awards.
That's true.
Like it came and went, but like honestly, I heard more about Death's Door than Chicory. I mean, like now I'm starting to see people say like Chicory's my game of the year or whatever, but like I didn't even know that game existed until significantly after it came out.
It might be a different circle because Chicory was like right away. I saw a good bit about it.
Okay, like I didn't see anything until like several months afterwards. Death's Door was something that was like Andy Cortez was freaking out about it. Ben Moore was at the time saying this game of the year, was losing his mind about it. It was like, it came and went in some ways, but like it certainly was not like a Hades level of like fever pitch. But it for sure, like I heard almost no negative thing about it. It was like this is a Dark Souls-y like indie game like this that's just like insanely well made. So I personally think it's in the maybe column, but I think it's a step more likely than Chicory in my mind.
I think, well, it's a simple thing that, it's like, it makes sense. This is the type of game I agree with you. It probably puts it ahead of Chicory.
Yeah.
The Forgotten City. I mainly put this at the time so I can get an even 15. But this is also one of those games where when it was coming out, I heard a lot of people talk about it and really like, kind of the same way as Chicory and Death's Door. Maybe not to the level, so I don't think there's a chance, but this is one I've seen a lot of people talk about.
I don't remember what game this is.
Weird one to I know it doesn't show too much, but I know people really liked it. I don't know like a crazy amount about it. I just saw a bunch of people kind of raving about it.
This is striking no bells.
Yeah, it's a mystery adventure role-playing game.
All right, well, this is all you, big man.
Yeah.
I literally do not remember ever seeing this game in my life.
Again, I don't think it's going to make it. But I just kind of put it in there. But a lot of people seem to really like it.
For a second, I was thinking it was going to be like the Tim Burton-esque game, or whatever that came out. It is not. I do not know what this is. So, what do you think, Jeff?
I think it's not going to happen.
Okay.
All right, Darby. Next one could be an interesting one. Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah, I would be interested to see if these games, because Horizon games are always really, really good and people love them to death. I'd be interested to see, like, were they nominees in the past? Like, did they ever make it up to that? Because obviously, the Game Awards has a very third-person action adventure RPG slant, like in a hardcore way. So I could see like the racing game, even if it's like should be up there and it's like one of the best racing game of all time, I could see it just not getting the love in this voting audience, and we are amongst those people who don't really appreciate the racing games. So like I don't know, I'm like leaning towards putting it maybe, but I also think that it could just be so good that it's like you gotta do it.
So my argument for putting it in maybe at the moment, not a sure thing, is Forza is beloved. The people who love it, and I can't, not knowing much about them in general, I don't know how this one, or even how it's looking like it compares to Forza Horizon 4. But they review very well, and this has I think based on previous scores, potentially being like the highest reviewed game of the year. Which, again, because the kind of game may get it. But my argument would be, if it's going to get nominated any year, it'd be this one. because there aren't as many of the whole front runners. Because let me give.
So wait, this is your argument for maybe, because maybe was my default.
Yeah.
So you're not
well, I said maybe. As far as being potentially in, is going to 2018 when Forza Horizon 4 came out. That's the year God of War, Odyssey would say, Celeste, Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead 2 came out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
yeah, it should yeah.
I feel like none of the games that are coming out this year would really replace any of this. Maybe one would replace Odyssey, but
yeah. Put it in. Yeah. We'll put it in for now.
All right.
We'll see if it's 6 total, right?
Yeah.
I guess nominee. Yeah.
Assuming they do the same number, so we'll put it as in right now. I feel like if it's any year as this, and I feel like because it's spread out all over the place, the people that really like Forza at places are going to make such a case for this that it has a chance.
Yeah, their vote might carry more, could just get it split, more, yeah.
And for every reason, I feel like I've seen a little more hype for this one in our circles. Maybe?
Yeah, I've seen people really excited. When I look at it, I'm like, it looks like a very stunning, pretty racing game, but I cannot tell what is like mechanic, like what's in this that's not before.
You might as well give it
like, yeah. I mean, it's stunning. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Guilty Gear Strive.
I don't want it to be in. It's such a damn good game.
I put it in here because it's the top game. It's going to win best fighting game.
Yeah, it is.
It should.
I think it has a shot because I think people in this year, and I mean, I think people love this game.
The Forza
Basically, yeah. I mean, I think in a lot of other years it wouldn't, but like. Guilty. I mean, just like every outlet's gonna have their Horizon pusher, I think every outlet's also gonna have their Guilty Gear pusher. That it's like, it's like they'll look. We gave like like Mortal Kombat and stuff to us. So like this game's doing so much more. It's like I could see them. Yeah.
I think the counter argument is I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, and I can definitely be, depending how the rest of this list goes, be arguing putting it in there. Because even Mortal Kombat and that's more beloved by these outlets didn't make it into any of these things.
Yeah.
And all that. And I feel like Guilty Gear is more of a niche thing. And I feel like as far as I feel like the Forza her argument we just made still works for Guilty Gear, but kind of to a lesser degree, because I feel like it's easier to get these people into for Forza because they're more likely to try it and maybe like it more than Guilty Gear, where it'd be more of a just, that was fun for a play session or two.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel confident.
Maybe right now.
Yeah, maybe it's good. I don't feel like confident about it. It just feels like they might throw fighting games a bone, for something here. I think there's a possibility, and I don't know. I feel like Guilty Gear is like a little more critically beloved than Mortal Kombat. I think Mortal Kombat is just like obviously way bigger. And I think we can't read too much into some of the awards Mortal Kombat has gotten because the competition in its like fighting game categories and stuff was just so ridiculously small, Like the fact that it basically won best fighting game 2 years in a row because of the DLC thing, which is just kind of bullshit.
It was bullshit.
So,
yeah. All right.
But this is also the same voting audience that put Jump Force up there, probably because they didn't even know that Power Rangers was a game, because they obviously are not. They're clearly not doing their homework on fighting games. So probably
fuck no. Hitman thing.
I don't think so. I mean, I know people love this game to death, and this is another one. If it has a shot for a year, I think this is the one. The combination of it came out a really long time ago. I know there's evidence to prove that doesn't always like God of War was one it doesn't always this was early, and there's other Horizon was in February. I mean, there's you can definitely be big enough to make it past that, but I do think a game like Hitman 3 gets forgotten more than a game like Horizon and things like that. So I personally, as cool as it would be, I would be pretty surprised if it got nominated.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay putting it in maybe, but it's at the bottom of the maybe for me.
I can agree with that. Based on the rest of this list, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to make it. As much as cool as it would be.
Yeah. It'd be cool to be proven wrong on that.
Yeah. But I think a big reason why I'm not necessarily fighting for it potentially as much as potentially making it is it did come out in January, and I have seen a good amount of. Oh wait, Hitman came out this year.
Yeah.
People might get reminded, but if they think that that's enough for people to sometimes be like, nah.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at this list. I think we're going to get to 6 before I would start considering Hitman 3. So
It Takes Two.
Yeah, I think it's 10. I think it's 10. I think it's kind of undeniable that like there and anyone who hasn't played it, I think they'll be the people. It's like no, legit. It's just so mechanically cool and different and good, and just from top to bottom, a nearly flawless game.
There might be an argument we have to have later in relation to It Takes Two with some other games, but we'll get to that. Depending on how.
I mean, do you disagree? I
think like it's a very good shot.
I think it's a very, very good shot. Yeah.
Metroid Dread, the most recent release game from this list.
I'll let you start.
I think there's a shot.
I think it's in.
Yeah, I think I say I think it's a shot. I think there's a very good shot. Yeah. Just the impressions we've gotten. There's a lot of this is the game we've been waiting for. This is the best Metroid game. This is one of the best. Yeah. Metroidvania.
I feel like I like leading up to it, I thought it was on the fence whether it would be or not. I've seen enough. This is my favorite Metroid game of all time to believe that it's gonna be in this thing. Yeah. I mean, it's not a consensus thing, but I've seen enough people say that to where I'm like, okay, let's get
yeah.
And like for Metroid, that's insanely high praise.
Well, and because of the hype for it and it being the big Nintendo exclusive, for this part of the year, single player one. And it's not that long. I think enough people will play it compared to some of these games as well to help give it a bump.
Yeah, I agree.
Monster Hunter Rise. I don't think so.
I don't either, but I always underestimate Monster Hunter. But, but I don't think so either. I mean, World was a nominee, obviously. But.
Yes. It's probably one of the best-selling games on this list.
For sure.
My argument for it being no is because... partly because World did do it, because we have that comparison, like World did enough to do it. Yeah. I feel like the hype for this is not like, again, in the video game industry, punditry, whatever, those people, the hype is not there. People drop that Monster Hunter Rise far more quickly. It's not really being talked about. Maybe it's coming up when they get new DLC announcements for 2 seconds, but no one's actively playing it.
It has the struggle of being the second in the comeback of the series or whatever, and Monster Hunter World was just such a bringing the Monster Hunter series to such a crazy new high. The sequel, unless it just radically changed things, which it didn't, was just never gonna be like quite that thing. And it being like kind of limited on the Switch, I think most people would agree that Monster Hunter Rise is super duper fun, but probably slightly worse than World, or slightly less going on than the World. So yeah, I do struggle to see so many people going up to bat for like a little bit worse World.
Yeah,
I don't think that's gonna be. So I would say no. Even though, but it's it's arguably the biggest game of all these, so we might be fools for dismissing it so quickly. But yeah, I agree.
Psychonauts 2.
I think it's gonna happen, Jeff.
Okay.
I think it, so. I think the critical response is slightly it's getting hard to deny. I think Jeff probably there's some games I think Jeff would if we would be like how the hell did you get in there? He's like, oh, you thought that was gonna be in there? I think this is one of those he knows that if it doesn't get in there, I mean, I know he doesn't choose these or whatever, but I think a lot of people know if this is not there, then something's wrong.
Okay, I thought I was gonna have to maybe make a little argument for it, but not because I don't think you doubt it's great or anything, but because I think we'll get with the next game actually, and It Takes Two is too many of those kind of games, so it might.
Yeah, and I haven't thought ahead, so I might. Yeah. There's a chance I end up cutting this, but for right now, my heart. Tells me
my heart kind of tells me too, but we'll put it in there for now, and the arguments that might come up, we'll get there when we have all the games.
I agree. Yeah, let's just save it for them.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. We're getting to the point we already have 5 and will be the nominee. We can put more in there and then cut it later. But
obviously, I love this game to death. I don't think it deserves to be in there. I mean, it's a very good game. It's my favorite Ratchet and Clank game probably. But when you talk about this game, I mean, do you agree? I mean, I personally just don't think it stacks up.
I agree, but the kind of, I guess, fun thing, and maybe even frustrating a little bit, it's not about what we think.
No, it's not. It's certainly not.
It's about what other people think, and I feel like just with the way the game looks, and I mean, admittedly, it looks beautiful, and the stuff when Transition World is great.
Sure.
Even though the gameplay, when comparing it to, and this is what I was hinting at, the other 3D platformers in Psychonauts 2 and It Takes Two, I think those games are overall a lot better than Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Even only playing It Takes Two, I mean, it's a step above. I mean, it's on its own class.
Yeah,
There's no shame. There's no shame.
I think overall Ratchet and combat and everything probably feels better than Psychonauts 2, but Psychonauts story and everything and level design and all that kind of stuff is just a step above Ratchet.
Yeah, and for someone who loves Ratchet and Clank, and not everything's about being the best of like it was a nice, cozy experience that I loved. It reminded me of being the kid again. I loved it, but
it's a big AAA Sony game.
Yeah,
that I feel like might be, and people really liked it, might put it over like Psychonauts 2 at the very least.
Yeah,
but as far as like potentially arguing against it in favor of like Psychonauts, and I'm mainly going to do it because Psychonauts, I feel like It Takes Two is so much of a lock. As far as these 3D platformer go, there's like more like as far as those 3 games go. I feel like I'm going to be more shocked if It Takes Two doesn't make it at this point.
I'm going to be offended.
Yeah. Oh, well, that too. I'm going to be offended if Psychonauts doesn't make it, but that's
yeah,
point.
you should.
What was I saying?
I don't know. I'll defer to you. I'm like stuck between maybe and.
Let's just put it there, like in the will be nominee, and we can kind of just debate it once we get through them all. And
I think you might be right.
But yeah, I do feel like the people will do because more people played it, and just. It's weird. Just it being beautiful and just kind of generally well made will be enough to.
Just for the audience, we are at 6 right now. That's Deathloop, Forza Horizon 5, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet and Clank Rift.
I love how we leave Microsoft games on here.
Hey,
good.
Yeah, there you go. So, we still have 4 more games to talk about here. So,
Resident Evil Village.
I don't fucking know. I need guidance. This is where it's getting hard.
Yeah. It is the lowest review game on this list. I put it here, like I kind of had a mental cutoff, like at 86, generally speaking. But Resident Evil got the bump because it is Resident Evil, and a lot of people did play it. And a lot of people
divisive. I mean, like, Last of Us Part 2 was also. There's a lot of people that hate that game, but it's like the people who love that game are like, this is one of the best games of all time. So.
Mm-hmm. I don't see that for Resident Evil. Like, no. It's Resident Evil for the last one. Yeah,
I don't think it's as divisive either way in that. Like, the people who hate it don't hate it as much as The Last of Us Part 2. The people who love it don't love it.
But I feel like it's still divisive enough to where, like, I feel like the people who really like it on that end, for the most part, aren't to the level where it would be GOTY. Like, there'll be that one Resident Evil guy on every outlet that maybe pushed for it a little harder. But I feel like it's not enough to do it. And, compared to maybe like Forza and Guilty Gear we were talking about, there being that one guy, more than just a Resident Evil person in every outlet played this game.
But I would not be in the least surprised if it's in there just from name recognition alone.
Well, also, I love the game, so I'd be
it's great. I mean, it's not like it doesn't deserve to be in there, but I mean, like, I'm not going to be flabbergasted if something like Psychonauts 2 gets shafted for this just because people know Resident Evil. You know, it's like,
and because, like I was kind of saying with earlier, I can see people maybe doing a little cutoff for 3D colorful cartoony platformers. As dumb as that is, I can see it.
No, if it's their year, it's their year.
Yeah. Returnal.
This is a fucking hard one because, from just like things they're doing, this seems like Game Award bait.
Yeah,
like it feels like Game Award bait, more so than Ratchet and Clank, just from the Oscars type of It's like that's the superhero movie. This is the art movie that actually wins the award.
Yeah.
The Game Awards are not necessarily that award show, though. They're not really like the Oscars in that sense. Like, sometimes the big MCU movie wins the Game Awards, in the context of, the analogy that we have here. So, I'm inclined to say no, even though it feels so much like one that would be in there. But
I'm on the fence about it.
I'm on the fence, though. I mean,
because I feel like it may not get... A lot of people talked about it. A lot of people really loved it. but there are a lot of talk about it. But it feels like some people did drop off of it.
Yeah,
and that might hurt it. But the
It was
people
not
who
for
finished
everyone.
it loved it.
it was not for everyone, but you know what? It was another game that was not for everyone, Sekiro, and it won this
Yeah.
damn award. So
But
I mean, that's,
Sekiro was my
Yeah.
mind just now.
yeah. Even a lot of Dark Souls fans did not like Sekiro because they just couldn't do it. But it's like,
I think Returnal has a pretty decent chance.
I mean, I think like my heart told like my like just analyzing the games told me it over Ratchet and Clank, but then you kind of like also you made me feel like putting Ratchet and Clank not in there was a bad idea. So I don't know where I'm at this point.
I say we put Returnal in the nominee thing right now, and then we'll just make the cut as it goes.
Yeah,
Because,
I think we can save time here. Do you think Tales of Arise or Valheim have any chance of being in this? Because I don't think either of them do.
I want to believe for Tales of Arise.
I just don't. I mean, I think this is as close as Tales will ever or has ever gotten and probably will ever get. But I think it's a runner-up. Very close.
It's a weird thing where I've seen people talk about it, and I feel like it is going to be up higher on general game of the year's list than maybe you would think going for a Tales game. But yeah, with the overarching group of people voting for this thing, I feel like not enough people.
It'll for sure be a nominee in whatever genre it ends up.
Oh,
they put
RPG,
it in.
obviously.
Yeah. So
Might win. Could win that maybe. Maybe.
I'm trying to, the RPG is always so weird. What counts as a RPG? Do any of these other games count?
just for funsies, since I got it up, let me try to. Best role playing were last year.
It's such
7 Remake, Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royal, Wasteland 3, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
But it's so hard. Like, everything is kind of an RPG. I'm looking at all the rest of these games, and they're like a lot of them are kind of RPGs, but not really.
Well, they kind of put like all these kind of ones you think of kind of action/action.
Yeah, so it might be standing alone in that category. Not alone, but like all the rest of these Game Award nominees, they might not have to go against any of them.
If
So.
it's eligible, what will actually win is Endwalker.
I don't think it'll be eligible because they literally haven't. Don't they have some expansion or something like that category? Did they not?
I feel like the last one got nominated.
No, okay, well,
I might
maybe.
be remembering wrong.
Maybe. Anyway, unless you really want to make a case for it, with how much of a hard time we're having, we're already sitting at 7. I just struggle to see how Tales is going to be.
Yeah, I agree. But it'll be a big win for anime.
It will. I'll be so stoked. I'll be so stoked. And then,
All right.
and
So
Valheim was fun, but it's not going to be.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll get nominated. Maybe for that. I don't know.
I mean, it's technically even early access, but obviously that doesn't stop the Game Awards. But anyway.
So yeah, here's what we got, people. We got 7 games in our will be nominated list. Got to cut one.
Here, Microsoft.
But we good? Good little homie?
Yep.
We good little homie. The 7 games we have currently are Deathloop, Forza Horizon 5, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and Returnal. We have to cut one. I can't wait for us to be completely wrong. None of these games make it. That'd be fun.
No.
New Pokemon Snap wins. Let's go.
I don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it is fun because I feel like we got it dead on last year. Like, very quickly.
Yeah.
So this is kind of more fun where it's a lot.
I think last year it was more of the which one of these is going to win, and I think several of us, myself included, predicted Hades, and we were wrong.
Yeah. I feel like the most happened. Me and you were split on something maybe getting in over Doom Eternal or not.
Yeah, that was the only open slot.
Yeah,
like,
I can't even remember we were talking about being in that slot, but yeah,
that was literally the only open slot. Like this time, we're gonna get some of these wrong. Like we are not gonna guess the nominees correct this time.
Yeah,
I feel very confident that we're not gonna guess them correct. Like there's gonna be some things, 1, 2, or 3 things off.
Yeah,
or maybe more. Do you have any starting place? Or things that you're narrowing down between? Should we just go down and
we can do that. I feel like, strangely enough, we did by alphabetical order, but I feel like this will make things easier. Potentially, Deathloop, like I said, I feel like that's the lockiest lock on here.
I think it's a lock.
Maybe besides It Takes Two. Yeah, and that thing, It Takes Two. I feel like that and Deathloop are the two. Like I feel.
I do too. Yeah,
most confident
I think
about.
it goes in that order of declaring locks, but like it takes two. I'm gonna be pretty mad if it's not. I'm gonna be pretty shocked.
Yeah, I'm gonna be very disappointed in people just with that game. Does
I also think Metroid Dread is locked. Especially after seeing the reviews, I think
I'm
that's
feeling
locked.
we're had the hype of it being right here, and it just being out.
So
But
that
I kind of
takes
feel
us
you.
down to Forza Horizon, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Returnal, which I do think is correct that these are the chess pieces to move. Like
Yeah. Darby, I know I'm biased, but for some reason I'm just really feeling Psychonauts.
I think it's gonna be in there.
I feel like there are enough people that have actually played it from various outlets, and I haven't seen people who have played it be like, this was meant. There were a lot of, this is one of the best games, if not the GOTY.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
More than a lot of other games, even some ones on this list.
These last three games, I agree to drill it down these last three, and it's a very hard because Forza's so different than the other two, and then Ratchet and Clank and Returnal is just such a weird thing because one is way more popular than the other, and some people didn't like Returnal, but Returnal overall is trying way more different things than Ratchet and Clank and feels more like critic bait. So like it's weird. Like Ratchet and Clank and Returnal obviously have a more clear head to head, and Horizon is just such a different beast that it's like hard. So like I don't know. Are you like leaning one way or the other?
It's easy to make an argument for any one of those three to be cut from this. It's hard. Strangely enough, I'm feeling potentially Forza Stan, just because I feel like the Forza fans are gonna smell the blood in the water, be like, "This is our motherfucking
Daniel
year."
Bloodworth's coming out.
He's like, I sniffed it. I feel like this will be the year where people won't feel as strongly about things as much, to where they might give Forza the nod, and not saying it doesn't deserve it normally, but I feel like this is the one people might take some risks and I think can actually make it.
I agree. All right, so
Returnal or Ratchet with Sony game.
I mean, it's weird. If I had played Returnal, I mean, it's not necessarily my type of game, but Returnal looks like it's the better game.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be the better game to me. I would enjoy Ratchet a lot more. But just looking at it as a game, Returnal, I mean, just judging this off of what wins awards, I mean, the Returnal feels like the better game.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean...
where my, even though I haven't played Returnal, my head says Ratchet, my heart says Returnal in a weird way.
It's like this is way too much of a narrative award, though. Like I'm sorry, wait. I'm not even saying narrative as far as storytelling. I'm just saying narrative as far as media narrative.
Yeah.
And what gets talked about a lot is what wins. And I think if we go down that rabbit hole, it's Ratchet. And I do feel like that is more traditionally what this award is. Like the Oscars is way more of like this movie you never heard of is going to win, because it's that's just like, that's way more of a like, we're looking at the craft of this or whatever. Whereas like the Game Awards, I'm not even saying one's better than the other, but the Game Awards is a lot more of a like, what's the consensus, like everyone mass appeal think. Yeah. So I say Ratchet over Returnal, even though I don't necessarily think it's the right choice, and I would not be shocked if it's the other way around, but that's where I'm at. I'm
preparing myself for both of them making it and Psychonauts doesn't.
That would be depressing.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I feel like, as far as like, it doesn't feel like with the other games we've already designed this list, there's a big like quote unquote blockbuster on this list.
No.
And Ratchet just kind of feels like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the like Spider-Man or Horizon or whatever.
And
like,
while Sekiro did make it and won, I feel like maybe the hype for Sekiro is a lot bigger than Returnal. Returnal got a lot of hype. A lot of people liked it, but I feel like it's kind of maybe at different levels. I might be wrong, but
I mean, again, I in general just think this is a weaker year in the sense that I think when you go back to some of those past years like Sekiro or even like last year, a lot of those with Final Fantasy VII Remake and Last of Us and any of those, I think a lot like the third or fourth ranked in the votings of like last year would beat anything on this list. I think would win the Game of the Year over any of these.
I don't disagree.
I'm not even saying it's necessarily earned in the like Psychonauts 2 especially comparison, but like I'm just looking at this. I think like pull that back up again. Yeah. I think literally any of these would win Game of the Year if they were put in here. Like even the bottom one, even like
probably Doom Eternal.
Yeah, even Doom Eternal and Ghost of Tsushima is probably like higher than some of these other ones at this point. Like in critics,
people love Ghost of Tsushima.
I think I'm without even exaggerating. I think literally any one of these would win Game of the Year this year if it came. So that's why it's just an interesting year as far as like putting these things against. All right, very quickly, what wins?
What wins? Oh boy!
If this reality comes,
or just
play.
Remind people our 6 games that we think are going to be nominated:
Deathloop, Forza Horizon 5, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet and Clank.
And it's hard.
It is. I mean, this is not our final answer. We reserve the right to change our mind.
Well, especially when we do our prediction when the nominees are out and we're wrong in a couple of these.
Oh, of course.
Derby, you might call me crazy. I'm kind of feeling It Takes Two a little bit.
I hope it would be cool. This is a crapshoot, though.
I feel like what will help It Takes Two put it over the edge, or maybe put it over the edge for this is people who play it absolutely adore this game, and I feel like this will have, for a lot of people voting, the specialness of it, the fact that the memories of playing with their friend or significant other or whatever, and that might be enough in probably the most competitive year of this award potentially. Might be what puts it over the edge. And my second guess, it's hard for me to tell because again, Metroid Dread stuff's early and I've kind of been avoiding stuff since I haven't played it yet. It could be that. Maybe Psychonauts 2 is just could be a dark horse. Maybe Ratchet and Clank being the big blockbuster takes it. Deathloop's kind of a mix of both.
Yeah, this doesn't help at all. But my mind was just flipping between was Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, and Psychonauts 2. That's 4 games I just listed. So it doesn't really help.
Forza is one of those ones that nominee is kind of like, hey, good for you, Forza.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and I listed those 4 and I really didn't even have a front runner there. I like my head's spinning when it comes to these.
Again, I like the game a lot. I hope it's not Ratchet because that feels like a boring.
I hope it's not too. This is me. This is Darby, Mr. PS2 mascot platformer, man. I mean, Ratchet is one of my favorite IP of all time. But and I love that game to death. It was so much fun. I had a very, very good time. And, because, everything's not in a vacuum. You can, a 7 can be, one of your favorite experiences. And this is not a 7. It's far from a 7. I'm just saying that can be the thing,
I enjoyed Jump Force.
There's a chance I get Far Cry 6. It just hits me right. And I'm like, this game's, not doing anything too crazy, but holy shit, I had fun.
It's a 7.
But holy shit, I had fun.
I feel you.
I'm gonna predict Deathloop.
All right.
I think
I was mainly between that. And
I saw I saw tins. I saw way more than I ever thought coming out of this. And I think it's more of it has a little bit of that blockbuster-ness of it. As the shooter thing, it's very I don't feel confident about this whatsoever. But
like I said, that's my second. That was my second choice after It Takes Two. That's the one I was rumbling about.
I'm not gonna. I'm still if Deathloop gets announced, I'm not gonna be of course. I'm still gonna be I'm gonna be slightly surprised no matter what because any of these could win. I'll just be more impressed with myself that I managed.
What'd be fun about
fire pick it.
Be a fun thing about this list, Darby, if it is true, or at least for me. besides Forza, there's a chance by the time the game works out, I've played 5 out of 6 of these games.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I legitimately think every one of these games has a shot. I mean, I thought the same thing last year too.
Yeah, and we had a couple games we didn't put on this 6 list. We're like, I could easily make it out.
Yep. Yeah, I would not be shocked. If,
Returnal, I think you made a good case for the potential of Guilty Gear.
Yeah, unfortunately, looking at this now, it gets a lot harder.
Yeah.
But like, I do think there is a shot. There's a shot for it. I think it has an avenue.
I think Resident Evil Village also kind of has a shot. Maybe Monster Hunter Rise, depending. Maybe it's just kind of quietly there.
For sure. Yeah.
Dark Horse, Hitman 3 just comes in and assassinates.
Dark Horse, I do think it's a shot. I mean, I think that's telling this year that any of these games have shots, whereas like last year it was like, okay, these 5 games, what's the last one? We know it's probably Doom Eternal, but what else could it be? No, yeah, this definitely feels different.
What is Persona 5 Strikers? That'd be wild.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Nerds of Large Gaming Podcast. Definitely, if you enjoy this discussion, we'll definitely be having a Game Awards betting special as we normally do.
Oh yeah, I should probably start thinking about that.
You probably should start thinking about that. It's not as far away as you think.
Yeah, I should probably have most of my bets already before those nominees come out, shouldn't I? Yeah.
I mean, should we just make that episode 200? I don't know. That's lame. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I meant
200 already happened already. We're very sequential.
You're right. Yeah, sequential. Very sequential podcast. Thank you guys so much. And until next time, Jeff, your signature catchphrase?
Babaloo Shigadoo.
Oh, yeah.